description reads, a small and intense map that takes place in a derelict UNSA ship that is teetering at the edge of a black hole. Which we can see a warning about the event horizon on that console. Now the black hole looks very dramatic out there with its red-hued lighting around it. We have a variety of screens here on the command deck, which read out various diagnostic information, I assume, which I, of course, cannot interpret. And so, I've never actually played Infinite Warfare. I think it was the first Call of Duty that I just didn't buy after having, gotten into the series years prior. I do remember the game was quite controversial at launch. The trailer for it, the gameplay trailer, I think, became one of the most disliked videos on YouTube. This was probably the high watermark for the kind of anti-futuristic movement of the Call of Duty fan base. A large contingent of fans were pretty unhappy with the exosuits and the double jumps and the wall running and so on. That had become somewhat common in Call of Duty at the time, which I've spoken about before, that that sort of cultural backlash in the Call of Duty community. I have heard, I don't know, a sort of re-evaluation of this game in recent years. People say that the campaign was quite good. To be honest, I don't actually remember what the response was to this game. I didn't not buy it on, I don't know, ideological grounds or whatever. I wasn't protesting the futuristic nature of it. I was just at a time in my life where I didn't really have time to play, video games, play another Call of Duty. But this game has also been quite highly requested on this channel. I have had many comments asking for me to go check out Infinite Warfare's maps. There's one person in particular, and I apologize, I can't remember your name. I know that it starts with my, or I'm, maybe, I think it's I'm, and then your name. Anyway, if you're still around, thank you for your patience, and I hope you enjoy the video. have quite a large backlog of them. Whenever I get a request, I write it down in my notes app in a big bullet point list of them. And so, when I, have the chance, I like to do those ideas. It's a little, show of gratitude for, people watching my videos and commenting and supporting and all that. Anyway, this map is pretty interesting. It's obviously a very dramatic set piece. We have the officers' quarters here. We can also see that this is the frigate Icarus 03. The Icarus 03. Which is sort of an interesting name considering what's happening right now. Of course, you have in Greek mythology, the tale of Daedalus and Icarus. And Icarus flies too close to the sun, and his wings, bound together with wax, melt in the heat of the sun, and he plummets to his death in the sea. So, this ship being called the Icarus and being trapped, stuck on the edge of a black hole and being slowly destroyed is, a fun little parallel for the name. We have the escape pod bay there. Seems like the pods have already been launched. We have the mess hall there. We will, I think, circle around to the mess hall. The enlisted quarters. So it's kind of cool, the ship, being destroyed all around us. The hull being completely torn apart. We have some monitors here. Danger, ready. I'm not sure what those are monitoring. Sato Solar Associated Treaty Organization. Solar Associated Treaty Organization. Associated Treaty Organization. Solar Associated Treaty Organization. The hangar elevator. Sato, I imagine, I don't know the story of this game at all, but I imagine that's kind these are both destroyed jets here. Space jets, I assume, some kind of starfighter, you might say. Of course, the black hole looming ominously in the distance. We have two old kids hanging on the wall there. And some various objects in the center. Another jet hanging out there. It's a little weird seeing stuff kind of whip past us. But other things just kind of floating in the void of space. Makes it a little confusing to understand, what's going on gravitationally. Okay, so we have found our way to the armory here. We have a very slowly moving gun elevator. Down here is the mess hall, so we can go check out what they are getting for chow here. A broken window looking into that's maybe a dining area, but with some screens. There's screens everywhere in this ship. We have food prep. Food prep. We have some dining tables for the enlisted men and women aboard this ship to come chow down. Cygnus X3. I assume that's the name of the black hole, which we are currently being pulled into. And over here we can see the floor is missing, so this game has double jumps and wall running, and so the maps you will see areas like this which are designed for wall running. There is no floor for you to walk on there. I think we will avoid any wall running if we can, just to keep things moving nice and slowly and calmly. Warning, gravitational pull at critical levels. Gravitational pull at critical levels. So next up, we are here at Terminal. The description reads, a reimagined version of the classic MW2 map set on the moon. So Terminal, of course, takes place in an airport in Russia, I believe, because it's based on the mission No Russian. Now, Terminal was a very popular map, and it has been reimagined here as a lunar port, a lunar spaceport. You can see here, Gateway Interplanetary Port. So this is like the original Terminal, it's basically just an airport. It is a transit area for people who are either going back to Earth or traveling farther into the solar system. And the large terminal interior here has been imagined in this map as a museum dedicated to space travel, to the history of aviation. It's reminding me a little bit of Starfield, the somewhat mediocre Bethesda game. At one point you return to Earth and travel to like the NASA headquarters, I think, or maybe it was the space shuttle launching platform. But it's been turned into a space travel museum. That's just coming to mind walking around here. So here we have a scrolling museum display. Here men from the planet Earth first set foot upon the moon. July 1969 AD. We came in peace for all mankind. Apollo 11 plaque left on moon. So that's the famous plaque. We have, I wish I could kind of read these, but it'll be a little annoying because of their constant scrolling. We have the V2 rocket, so this is a history of aviation, rocketry. We have the development of jets here. Third gen, fourth gen. As they slowly transition into spacecraft. Mars is colonized. The Mars population 1,000. Earth population 18 billion. Wow. And think America sent up this, like, super weapon, and then the South American Unified Confederation. We have the classic space shuttle there. The development of the rockets. The South American Unified Government, I forget what it was called. The Coalition or something, you know. Suitably generic and vaguely ominous. They went up into space and took over the Odin satellite and started bombing America with it. Which, you know, maybe nobody should be building giant, world-destroying super weapons. But, the history of nuclear weapons would suggest otherwise. Anyway, yeah, so that's a fun little Easter egg. They put the Odin satellite up there. Trying to remember, I think then the South American government like builds their own version of Odin, probably called Thor. And then maybe I think you like board it yourself and take it over and destroy the South American government or whatever. I don't remember the details of that campaign very well. Alright, we have the departure list here. All of the flights have been cancelled. You can go to the moon of Titan, you can go to Mars. They also have some Earth locations: Geneva, Washington, Los Angeles, Mercury, Ceres, Jupiter, the moon of Europa, Callisto, Io, Neptune, another flight to Io, Geneva, Berlin, Antwerp, Titan, Mars, Geneva, Washington, Los Angeles, Jupiter, Io, Ceres, Jupiter, 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 Neptune, Neptune, Mars. We have a nice aquarium here, which I must say I love a good aquarium in like a big public place. When there are these massive aquariums, I don't know, I find them really nice. They're a great element of a public space to make it feel more, I don't know, natural, comforting. I always think of dentists, especially like dentists for kids, the dentists that I would see as a kid, their office. Now it always had an aquarium hongs rolling on dubs, jalapeno roll, Gilo mukbang roll, Teo's kimchi on the beach, should have read the ingredients as well. Some of those looked kind of nasty. This restaurant was a burger town in the original map. We have Soothe cigarettes there. And we have grape wine. Just a nice generic name, grape wine. No information on... Oh my god. Oh my god, they're making sushi out of the aquarium fish. They're just reaching it into the aquarium and pulling out the fish and serving them up fresh. The kids are eating Dory, man. That's messed up. We have another aquarium here. Very nice. Yeah, aquariums. I went to two dentists as a kid. Well, one of them was an orthodontist / dentist office. I got most of my cleanings there when I was really little. And then there was a dentist's office that was a little older, for older kids, that I started going to when I wasn't quite so young. And they both had, we have an iris scan there. They both had aquariums. I also think of a restaurant, a very weird restaurant. It had a very strange aesthetic, but it was pretty awesome. And, well, maybe I won't say the name. Prohibited items, no pets. No pets for space travel. It's too bad. I'll just describe the restaurant, and if any of you recognize it, then I'll have effectively doxed myself. I mean, I don't live there anymore, so it doesn't matter, but if any of you can guess the name, I'll be pretty impressed. So, the restaurant, their decor was like, how do I put this, like it had like a turn of the century, like 1900s, early 1900s, Ferris wheel or carnival kind of aesthetic. All the walls had like horses dressed up in these kind of fancy horse outfits. And I think there were like cherubs, babies and stuff painted on the wall. It had a very bright kind of pastel tone to things. And then in the center of the restaurant, there was a huge cylinder aquarium. I'm sure you've seen those before, those kind of freestanding cylindrical aquariums. And they had a bunch of stuff in it. I think they might have even had eels. But it's been a very long time, so I couldn't say for sure, but they had a ton of different kinds of fish. You can walk into the Antoine Gersant store, which seems to sell handbags and jewelry. And it was one of those things, sometimes you could see like a diver going into the aquarium to, clean it out and scrub down the like that was some kind of, it's like a parade in the 1920s or something, where they put the big kind of frills on the horses, and I want to say it was like a merry-go-round as well. Like the horses might have had poles in them, but maybe they didn't. It might just be that the aesthetic reminded me of horses on merry-go-rounds. Anyway, if that's familiar to you, you can drop a comment, and I'll know that you'll know where I grew up. We have some kind of tablet, or I don't know, computer chip. I couldn't quite tell what that was supposed to be. But anyway, enough rambling about a random restaurant. Let's go step onto the space shuttle itself. This is, of course, an iconic part of the original terminal map, is the large plane that you could travel through. They have expanded it a bit, made it a bit more spacious, especially here in the cockpit, which was pretty cramped in the original. We have a very complicated control panel here with lots of buttons and dials and such like. Speaking of making things less cramped, they have removed the chairs, the seating on either side of the plane, so it's much more spacious in here. In the original map, you could pretty much just walk down this center aisle. In the original map, this also had, there was a ladder back here to go down. And there was a little pocket in the back with explosive barrels. But they have changed it into a ramp. So we can move on from terminal now. Welcome to Scorch. Scalding hot mining facility on the surface of an asteroid is what the description for this map reads. And indeed we can see lava bubbling on the surface of the asteroid. And these large mining drills, these huge units, I suppose extracting the molten metals. We have an observation area here with monitoring screens and windows to look out at the mining equipment. That seems to be the operations center for the mining facility. A lot of lines here, a lot of different lines. I have no idea what those mean, of course. is kind of reminding me of Deep Impact, right? Or is it Armageddon? Which one is it that they hire like Bruce Willis and a bunch of what are they, like oil rig workers? They hire them to go up to an asteroid that's on a collision course with Earth and blow it up with a nuclear bomb or something. I think it's a James Cameron movie. Could be wrong, I haven't seen it for a very long time. And also there's two movies that are very similar that came out at like the exact same time, and I think that they are Armageddon and Deep Impact. Security check-in, drill control room, observation deck, material processing, kiln, platform, shipping hangar 7. We have the sun hanging up in the sky. This is interesting. It seems we have molten metal in a sort of processing pipe. Let's get a closer look at that. You can see that that magma there with this large electric spinning turbine thing. I'm not sure if there's some kind of refinement process there through the use of like electricity. Some more lava in there. So the difference between magma and lava, if I remember correctly, is I believe magma is what you call it when it's still underground. And then lava is what you call it when it makes it up onto the surface. Can anybody fact check me on that? Is that correct? The sun is looking very nice up there. Also kind of dark. Shouldn't it be just blinding me? So tell me, do asteroids actually have lava in them? Or pardon me, magma. Let's molten rock, let's say. Let's keep it generic. Do asteroids actually have molten rock inside of them? I wouldn't have expected that to be the case. There's some geysers out there. But I am no cosmologist. I mean, I don't know, you think about how, on the size of the Earth, how quickly you get through the crust and into the molten mantle. I mean, I say quickly, obviously, it's like incredibly deep for our human means. But on the scale of the Earth, when you look at, a diagram of it in a textbook, the crust is tiny. So maybe on an asteroid of significant size, you could have some molten rock in the center. Nitrogen storage, no smoking, no open crazy. You're working on the surface of an asteroid. I would assume foot protection is kind of, obvious. Let me put it this way. If your feet aren't protected, you probably have bigger problems, right? Bridge control. I'm assuming on the surface of this asteroid, considering you are on the surface of an asteroid, if any part of your body is not protected, you're screwed. So we can follow this path. We have another wall running segment here. If you wanted to cross over to material processing over there, you could do some wall running. And we have the lava flow down there. Looking like Mustafar. I think I see Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker fighting each other on the path down there. Maybe I should check out this campaign, never having played it before. The Call of Duty campaigns are pretty short. They tend to be anyway, so I can usually blitz through it kind of quickly. I have a friend, I think he actually quite liked this campaign. I'm trying to remember the zombies mode for this game. I'm pretty sure this was one where they took zombies in kind of a wacky direction. I believe the first map was Zombies in Spaceland. Now this is a classic bit. Pride and safety. This facility has worked 0 days without a lost time accident. Whenever you're in a video game and they put up one of those signs that says this facility has gone blank days without an accident, you know it's always going to be 0. Or it'll be like 1 or something. It's a very classic little bit. I'm sure it's in like Dead Space. I remember it in BioShock. Of course, it's also just a bit in like cartoons or shows or whatever. Somebody gets injured and then you see the sign tick down from 1 to 0 or whatever. Yeah, this game must be the Zombies in Spaceland one, because Spaceland, Infinite Warfare being a game set in space, that would make sense. Security and check-in. So this is the arrival area, it seems, for when people land on the asteroid. You have a landing pad up there. Come down here, go through the security checkpoint. We have some asteroid fragments. that's a lovely place to leave it. Welcome to Earth. Our first map of the day on Earth, we find ourselves on the California coast with a UNS, a frigate or carrier of some kind, hovering over the Pacific Ocean. And the description reads, Headquarters for the Division of Mechanical Evolution, parentheses, Dome, located on the California coast. Division of Mechanical Evolution, or Dome. So that's kind of a fun little reference to the layout of this map, which is a very light remake of the map Dome from Modern Warfare 3. Oh, that woman is stanced up. Also, these people are walking. Oh my god, they're just vanishing. Look at how slow that one's running. They're disappearing. They're getting like Thanos snapped. Oh my god, they're multiplying too. I feel like I'm looking at like a bacterial colony or something on a dish of agar. We have these kind of iconic beachside homes. Iconic of the sort of Los Angeles or California coastline. These very narrow, rectangular homes. And some sailboats out there. So yeah, this is a very, very light remake of Dome from Modern Warfare 3. Oh, we have a boardwalk out there that's just completely empty. That's interesting. There's nobody even on it. If you're familiar with Dome, we are... Let's see, I guess this would be kind of where that destroyed tank is, and we're walking into the ruined building. But this is a robotics facility, it seems. So we have diagnostics here. This is some real, like, Boston Dynamics shit here. I love them. Those little Boston Dynamics robots when people, like, I don't know, they get tripped or something and the robot is, like, trying to keep its balance, and or they fall over and then they just start freaking out. Sorry, I'm sure you've seen videos of those little robots and silly things they do. Gray cube dynamics. Gray cube looks like a brain compressed into a cube. There's a video of a guy. He's wearing like a VR headset controlling the robot. And I think he's doing like karate or something. And the robot is next to him doing it too. And then the guy like does a kick and the robot kicks him in the balls. robot pieces here. I think these are supposed to be robots. I mean, they are controlling themselves, but I believe this game also has like exosuit type stuff, so I don't know if like I don't know if that's supposed to have a person in it. I think it does. Looks like actual like human hands. That is a fancy jet there with that candy apple red. Oh, and we have a sort of a donut or Taurus-shaped space station up there. That's cool. This red jet is reminding me of I have a neighbor, and he's gay, and the other day he was talking to me about a car that his friend owned when he was little. Not little, what do I say? Like when he was a teenager. And also I like this this vast kind of empty Californian hillside look out there. We have a little just a little sitting area there. It's interesting. Sorry, I should finish the story because you were probably like, why does it matter that he's gay? Sorry, it's just like, just reminded me of, like my mom or whatever, where it's like they're telling a story, or my aunt, or, some of these kind of older family members. And they're telling a story, and they're like, well, there was this black guy at work today, and then it's like there's no relevance to their race at all in the story, like it never matters. But for some reason they feel the need to like say that, mention the race. Anyway, I was giving that vibe by just saying that he was gay, but it was relevant because he said the gayest thing I've ever heard. He was telling me about his friend's car that he bought, and when he was describing the color, he said, my friend got this red car, and he was like, the movie Gone with the Wind, near the beginning of that movie, what's that actress's name? Scarlett O'Hara. He was like, near the, at the party scene, Scarlett O'Hara is wearing this gorgeous red dress, and the car was the exact color of Scarlett O'Hara's dress. And it made me laugh because I was like, oh man, it's so funny to explain the color, say the color of the car by being like, it was Scarlett O'Hara's gorgeous red dress from Gone with the Wind. I say this in a non-insulting way, by the way. I'm sure, on the internet you never know people's intentions, and just for the record, I'm not, I just think it's a funny, just a very If I were smart, I would just edit this whole section out, but I'm gonna leave it in because I think it's funny. Anyway, let's move on from that before I make things any worse for myself. We have a spiral staircase, a very tight spiral staircase here, wrapping upward to the higher levels. This red building down there, kind of at the far end of it, that would be the actual dome in the dome map. So you can see it's very, very different. It's not like a geometrically identical remake of the dome map, but it has kind of a broadly similar layout. We have a tram going off into the distance there. So we can make our way back to where we started on this map and look back out at the Pacific Ocean. The trash can, the monorail station here. The monorail station. I wonder where that monorail goes off to. Elevators. That's an interesting little painting there. Just cubes or squares of different shades of green. Alright, well, hopefully enough of you had fallen asleep by this point in the video that my ramblings about my neighbor did not reach the ears of too many of you. But anyway, thank you for joining me as I checked out some Infinite Warfare maps for the first time. I found them pretty cool. Some pretty interesting designs, some very bold, stylistic choices. And I think I'll definitely come back to Infinite Warfare someday because these maps were pretty cool and